You are listening to the USDN on the DFPN.
It's a trap!
Hey.
Oh, I had two versions of the song playing in my ear when I was trying to share it. Apologies to everybody. What is up, everybody? It's the chairman of the United States Department of Nerds, where we are for the people, by the people, and of the people. So what happens when competition becomes civilization, when entertainment becomes survival, and when fates of entire cities depend on the outcomes of a game? Tonight, we step into the year 2798, a future where humanity survives beneath vast domes known as franchise cities. And the greatest force shaping society isn't politics or wealth, it's victory. Our guest tonight is Donal Thoms Cappello, creator of the sci-fi epic POWERSCAPE, a universe more than 20 years in the making, blending futuristic sport, political intrigue, and big-scale science fiction world building. The Council of Nerds is now in session. Donal, my friend, welcome back to the USDN.
Hey, thank you for having me. Always a pleasure to be here. I like what you've done to the place.
Hey,
So
thanks,
thank
man.
you.
I spruced it up as I'm redecorating everything behind me.
Yeah. Same here. Same here on my end. Yeah.
But hey, before we dive in to POWERSCAPE itself, why don't you take a few minutes and tell everybody about how you kind of got into this?
The comic book. Well, back in 2002, I was an actor performing and training out in London, and it was right, post 9/11 sort of reality setting in. And I just, I was reading a lot of philosophy. I was working on a lot of art. I was attending a lot of different sports games. I grew up loving basketball, but I also was very keenly aware of all these other sports like football and European football, soccer, playing such a role in culture, playing such a role in how our public square more and more turns into sports forums and entertainment arenas, and the idea of the arena itself becoming more and more kind of what is our society in general, where we mingle, where we mix, and that with the decades of just seeing sort of everything playing out with environmental issues and climate change and also energy resources and finite energy, and how everything that we are and everything that is our society rests on a lot of finite energy and the battle for it. And what if you put these two things together, and how inevitably, the idea of bread and circuses, more and more people look at that as kind of like the end stage of when the Roman Empire collapsed. But I see it as almost sort of the inevitability of what happens when you make empire, and also when you have to hold things together as long as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And taking bread and what does it look like to extend that even further when bread and circus becomes like the government itself becomes the right. And so POWERSCAPE is sort of this culmination of years of really weaving a story in my head about this idea of if the sports franchise essentially becomes the governing model these remaining cities after centuries of the planet's been destroyed by climate issues and nuclear winter and all this stuff. And what happens if we recreate everything, but we only have this much really left to survive? And how do we distribute it? Well, distribute it through a game, distribute it through competition. And what does that look like, right? So that's kind of what the story is exploring, for sure.
Still wild to hear it. I know I've heard the explanation before, but it's still wild, and still a very fun concept to explore.
Thank you.
Where did the love for storytelling begin?
Yeah, I think I feel like growing up in the American suburbs, story is kind of just there, right? It's there as soon as you turn on the TV. And I really got in. My background's theater. I really, really appreciated a lot of theater. I was a major fan. I think one of the first storytellers that really spoke to me was Arthur Miller, who is a playwright, Death of a Salesman, right? Like when you say Arthur Miller, yeah.
Yep, and, that's where I went.
Yeah, you are. So you're familiar with him, right?
I'm familiar with him. Yes. Yeah. Am I a stage kid? Absolutely not.
Yeah, no, we got our.
But I appreciate it, you know.
Yeah, you don't want to be a stage kid. You get your butt kicked in the American suburbs. Speaking of which, but it's funny.
Which is why you live in Canada now.
Exactly. Yep. I'm up here now. I can't do nothing about it. Oh man, it's a country of state of drama kids. But I also got shoved in the locker all the time until I remember I did the Who's Tommy. I played Tommy, and everybody. I remember grown our star linebacker of our high school football team was like, "Bro, you're so beautiful up there. It was so amazing." I was like, really? But even before that, yeah, I was a major fan of Arthur Miller because I really enjoyed how he was clearly talking about something like these underlying patterns that pop up in our culture that are there that no one else was talking about. And theater, and I feel like theater and comics are the two media that they are always there before everybody else, and they're always talking about deeper stuff that TV and film. It takes way longer for those sources, those platforms to discuss those things. So I got a lot of that from Arthur Miller. And then over the years, I just started, really, it was when I started studying writing up here in British Columbia. I went to UBC and I started writing. I only came up here really to sharpen my tools for screenwriting, but they had this rule where you had to study different genres. And so I was studying everything I could, poetry, 4-act structure. I started really falling in love with story structure.
There's that one again, the 4-eye structure.
4-act structure, yeah. Oh, did you say 4-eye? That one I haven't heard of, actually.
No, the one you said. I'm sorry, it sounded like
4-act. Yeah. 4-act structure, 5-act, right? The common novel really lends itself well to comic book writing, and that was something. Yeah.
Me and Braxton Cosby just had a very good conversation on that exact topic, actually.
Really?
Yeah, that's how he writes his comics, using that same concept.
Where he thinks of it as one long novel, right? Yeah.
Yep.
There's some really great. There's another fantastic writer who, of course, his name is escaping me right now, and I'll look him up. He wrote Little Bird.
Okay.
That he definitely, I could see that his storytelling structure for that tale is absolutely does that. I'm trying to get his name now, and so I don't lose it. Darcy Van Paulgeest.
Okay.
He's brilliant writer. It's a really great story, and it reads like a novel in structure, but it doesn't feel like that while you're reading it. And that's so I started realizing that a lot of narrative structure I started studying, a lot of thinking about nonlinear structure, thinking about this and that. I learned how I went back to comic books, which is really the first thing I was reading before theater, right? And I realized how so much of what I naturally wanted was inclined to make story wise really fit
Yeah.
comic writing. And so then it just got to a point where the idea just kept, chewing and chewing in my brain. And I was like, dude, you got to write this thing already.
Yeah.
I just to at least stay sane, I just have to write it. So
Now,
that's
what were some
doing.
of those? What were some of those comics that kind of influenced that?
Oh man, 100 Bullets without a doubt.
Oh, yeah.
100 Bullets, Azzarella's 100 Bullets run. What I love about it is the layering. You think it starts in a very small, hard-boiled crime fiction kind of setting, and then it unveils that it's part of this bigger story, and then that's part of an even bigger story. Reverse Russian egg or whatever. Yeah, I loved that feeling, and I loved how it was earned. Never felt like it was imposed, and it was a nifty way of story world building without starting with story world, right? Which I think is the challenge. I see so many people who I'm guilty of it too sometimes, right? Of you're worrying so much about the details of your story world instead of just people and characters and relationships. And I mean that story series for sure is great. And then of course, Watchmen obviously played a huge role.
So good.
Yeah, Scalped. A lot of the Vertigo series. I was a kid who was
they're back on shelf, man.
Say it again.
They're back on shelf.
The back of the shelf. Yeah, I was a kid. I was very lucky, and I was a kid who was allowed to go to the adult section of the comic book shop. and the owner was just like, "Yeah, I don't care. Yeah, it's like it would be like Vertigo. This is for adults. This is graphic violence. Preacher, right? Oh my gosh, the amount of stuff coming out of that.
Come on, everybody loves ass face.
Yeah. I think my father called me that a few times, and that was how we bonded. And so I would show him that the preacher comic, me trying to be like a teenage rebel to my dad, so I'm gonna get this. What are you gonna do about it? My dad's just like, all right, looks interesting, so like, as a young kid, I was lucky in that I very quickly was able to see past a lot of the bells and whistles of graphic violence and and art, incredible, beautiful art. But then at the end of the day, is it a story I'm going to come back to? Is it something I'm going to come back to?
Dude, that's one of those stories where you can go back and read it.
Yeah.
And then the TV series itself wasn't that bad. They did change a little much, in my opinion.
They changed a lot, yeah.
But at the end of the day, it was such a good watch, though. Yeah, there are certain things that you absolutely, positively cannot put on TV.
No, not at all.
It can be applied, like ass face becoming ass face was implied.
It was implied. That's true. And
you hear the gunshot, and then you see the aftermath and how everybody treats him, and then nobody really ever gets that real story of what that was and how that happened.
No. Yeah, and I think I really liked the part of the story where, at least in the graphic novel, I liked that you didn't really see how it happened. I think later they show how it happens.
Yeah, they do. It's in a flashback sequence later on.
Yeah, I loved that you didn't have to see it. I think it's mentioned very briefly when his dad leaves the police headquarters, and then he comes the sheriff's headquarters, and then the sheriff comes home, and he's just staring at the kitchen while his son's like, I'm gonna make you this, I'm gonna make you that, and then he leaves, and then he just puts his head down, and that's an Arthur Miller play moment for sure.
Oh yeah,
like that moment where it's like you can feel the history in the relationship in the room, and later on when I studied acting, you just sort of realize that's what makes a really potent character scene worth watching. Is there's something that we didn't see as an audience, but we know it's there, and you're watching two people navigate it, right?
He was such a great character in this series itself.
Oh yeah.
Like how many times did he save Preacher's ass?
Yes, that's right. I forgot about that. That's right.
He wasn't the most prolific character, but he was a very prolific character throughout the entirety of the series.
Isn't he essentially a response to people loving him so much, right? To fan mail and stuff like that, right? I want
to say yes.
Yeah, that he starts getting more of a Or at least I thought he did. I don't know.
I can't remember how that went down. I just remember him being just like he was a freaking dunce, right? Or at least that's how he.
Right.
But
Right.
it felt like he also had like mental issues before everything happened to begin with, and she just kind of played him along.
Yes.
And so it's kind of like you feel bad for the character, and then it's like he becomes such a
he
lovable character.
Yeah. Well, and he sacrifices himself, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Well, now I'm forgetting everything. Yeah.
I want to say he did.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Vertigo had there was a moment in the mid to late 90s where the stories were really very clearly not geared towards my teenage self.
Mm-hmm.
And I could tell they weren't, and I think there's I always trust, when I teach at I'm a college teacher, and I teach students that I know are very hyper aware of there's not a lot of things. They haven't been told everything about the ways of the world in the ways to protect them, but they're ready to handle that, right? They're ready to, and I think comic books were for a long time like the one place where you're an angry young man, and you're not understanding so many things about yourself and the world, and you go and you read a comic book, and there's some Neil Adams talking to me somehow from Beyond the Grave.
It's that 5 to 10 minutes of being just immersed in that story. There's not a lot of I want to say there's not a lot of stories, but there are a lot of stories out there currently that really just like pull you into them now.
Yeah.
And you just feel like, God bless. I feel like I'm there, man.
Yeah.
Like right now I really love Aubrey Sitterson's Free Planet. Such a good story. And it's one of those where I know when it ends, I'm going to be like, like that one's going to suck when it ends. There's been a few like that.
I'm super intimidated by the variation of storytelling I'm seeing now in comics. Mm-hmm. The superiority of clearly the generations that grew up watching film are going back to comic and applying a lot of those principles with paneling. And it's really interesting to see how it's happening. And I'm kind of realizing I'm a bit of a dinosaur on terms of my preferred format and everything, but I'm also okay with that because I think first of all you got to be who you are, right? You have to tell the story you are.
Oh yeah.
Also,
I don't think there's a right or wrong way. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, well, that's the wrong way to tell it." Is it?
Yeah.
Because look at it now. People use the gutters. Like people are all in the gutters now.
That's true.
People are using the whole page to tell the story now. Whereas before, you better have that half-inch white all the way around the page. And now it's like the pages are blue, the pages are black, the pages are red, and there's no such thing as a gutter.
Yeah, everyone younger than me, and in fact, a lot of my peers are trying to re-engineer story for vertical story format. Every student I know, there was a young student I worked with recently, and she was like, "Oh, I'm into comics." I'm like, "You are? Oh, here's mine." And she's like, "Oh, I read these, and they're meant to be scrolled, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Wow, this is this is how everyone who's younger is thinking about comics."
Well, they're also talking about they're not talking about a actual comic. They're talking about reading. I forgot what they're called off the top of my head, but a lot of this stuff is online now. Like you can literally just go buy digital copies of all the comic books. I mean, you offer digital prints of yours.
Yeah, mine's on Global Comics now as well. One's on Global Comics, but it's also it's available. It's Global Comics goes out of its way to keep it traditionally horizontal. I'm just saying that I can see that. Yeah, it's like you said. There's different ways of presenting the story. I'm a big. I think I said this last time in our last interview. I'm into Marshall McLuhan because McLuhan always believed the medium is the message, right? The medium is the massage, you would call it, where you're being it's not necessarily the story content, it's how it's being presented to you that's really sticking in your mind. And I think that's changing a lot now, for sure. But I also see that people are going to comics because it's a really immediate way to deal with the stories and the themes that I don't think we're getting in other places. Right?
No rules, right?
Yeah. And it's the most immediate way to experiment without certain rules, right? Yeah.
I mean, if you want to show blood and guts, and
pretentious glasses.
it's one of those where you can show the blood, you can show the guts, you can show the intestines being ripped out of this person's body, their brains splattered on the wall. If you want to go the opposite way, if there's a graphic scene between two adult consenting human beings, you can show it. There's nothing you gotta label it, but at the same time, you can still show all that stuff. There's an audience for it.
Yeah. And I think also I'm seeing how, like, the text bubble is changing. Like, people have different ways of delivering it now.
The text bubble is all over the place now.
Yeah,
it's
text
not
bubble being used as a way. Text bubble being used as transition. I'm noticing a lot, which is pretty interesting.
And that's the belief, right? The art will tell the story. The words will progress it.
Yeah.
And then there's the idea of people who use the gutters to do self-inflection into the story from the characters. Which is a cool concept too. I've read a few stories like that now where I'm like, none of that makes sense. And then you get a few pages over and then you're like, oh, that's inner monologue the character is having with themselves while they're having the conversation with this other character on the page.
Yeah.
So it's kind of odd seeing that, and I'm seeing more of it, but it's still cool. I like that it's an evolving form of media.
Yeah.
And there's really no right or wrong way to do it anymore. Now, before you had to have the gutters, you had to have that white page, and everything had to be confined to those boxes. And Image was really the first one that kind of came along and said, "Yeah, we ain't doing none of that." And then doing like the whole inner page is just a giant splash page,
Yeah. I'm in the middle of reading for the first time. I haven't finished it. Powers. I don't know why it took me this long to read it. It's been on my list forever.
Yeah.
And I'm just noticing, I guess, when Retro Girl is murdered, they are not a spoiler, by the way. It's in the beginning of the. they are giving background for what like, I guess, how the city thinks of her. And it's the bottom of the page, just these like panels that are these like little mini panels scrunched underneath the big the actual panels of the page. And I'm like, wow, that is so like, it's like, on one hand, I'm like, this looks a little clunky, but on the other hand, it's like, oh, I don't even need it. I could take or leave it. And that's kind of the connotation of it. And I thought that was really interesting. Where it's like, oh yeah, like that's the whole point of it. It's like I could read this or I don't have to. And that's the page is telling me that, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So there's just things like, I appreciated that from like, Image as Usual really did like set the whole, like, what if we do this instead, or understand.
Yeah, they kind of just said, okay, here's the traditional rules and here's the shredder, and we're going to do what we want. We're going to experiment. We're going to find what works and what doesn't work. Yeah. If it doesn't work, they're going to tell us.
Yeah. Yeah. Food for thought.
Yeah. I mean, we just had this conversation before we went live. About your book.
Yes. About, I mean, it's definitely.
I'm probably the only person who's actually read it right now, and I'm not going to give any spoilers, but, it was one of those where.
Yeah, let's talk about it. We should talk about it.
You want to talk
about
the
actual comic book? Let's talk about the actual comic book.
Well, that was literally my segue into it, actually.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
So let's step inside the world itself, man. POWERSCAPE is taking place in 2798. Civilization is surviving within these franchise city, and they're powered by core energy, which was given to them by aliens.
Yeah.
That's right. Aliens finally visited Earth to help us unfrick ourselves. That's what it took.
Yeah.
But let's not get, for those in the real world, let's not do that, okay? Let's not get to that point where aliens have to visit us to help us survive. But again, society is revolving around this massive competitive event known as Powerball.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Donald, can you let everybody know exactly what Powerball is?
So it's a game that is played on a variety of different fields depending on which city you're in. The one that we open on is New Caledonia, which is essentially Seattle and Vancouver and everything in between, and parts of Portland, just kind of like put together in the region as a mega city that is under a dome of manufactured atmosphere that this core energy keeps sustaining. Their field is called Omega Field because it's essentially almost like a gravity loop, except it stops at the top where there's right where the hooves of the horseshoe. Basically, you have a goal here and a goal there. There are 7 players on the field for each team, so there's 14 players altogether. These arbiter bots, who are sort of the refs, drop down out of the ship. They each, there's 3 of them, and each one of them have a ball of core called core ball. It's kind of more and more as I'm writing it, the slang of it is a C ball or a C, which I'm like could be a drug, but hey, you know. And so the core ball.
Give it a week, it'll be a drug.
Yeah, probably. So the core ball is dropped out of one of the refs, drops onto the field like a jump ball almost, right? And the players have to get it, and the job is to get it across the field to either, if you're the home team, it goes into a module pipeline that leads to the city grid that powers it immediately, or if you're the away team, it goes into a module pipeline that leads into your shuttle that you came in, and then you bring it back to your city. If anyone breaks any rules, if anyone does any infractions, or they violate the game in any way like this, like you try to keep one of them for yourselves, the arbiter bots basically sanction you, and which can be any ways, usually including death. So it's pretty.
And that's like literally one of the only rules, because
yeah,
I mean, there's a scene where it opens up and the new star player gets his whole knee lopped off.
Yeah. He learns he right out of the gates. There's an accident on New Caledonia's side because these are all players who haven't played with each other yet. And yes, and they're players, but they're also they're archetype. The characters are, they look they're super powered. You're given a genetic therapy as part of your player training, and it does something and changes your body in a way that gives you some kind of a superpower, unlocks it, but nobody really ever knows what it is. It's an unpredictable power. So the players themselves have to kind of train and then also know what their power is, but also be good enough at whatever this power is that they're able to work within the team system. And as we see in the beginning of the series right now, the Stargazers, who is the New Caledonia team, they're not good playing with each other, and they basically friendly fire one of their guys here, and then they're scrambling and they have to play.
And then the substitute of the substitute don't even know what her powers are yet. Like, they haven't manifested.
Yeah, not yet. They will. This was one that you were saying that the cliffhanger frustrated you, and I get it, because I had to make a tough call to split the game up into 2 issues, because I try as I did, I could not end this game in 1 issue. Part of me wanted to, because I figured it would be an easier, better showcase, but I wanted to establish, again, I wanted to think character more so than story world, I guess. And so I'm really trying to get us to establish who this main character is. And so, this is, you're basically getting the game. You don't necessarily get the end of this game yet. You will in the next issue. But it's it's essentially we don't quite know yet, what her power is. We do see her being resourceful enough. She knows what to do on the field.
Oh yeah.
This is Gala, right? Yep.
Yeah. And you can kind of tell, like, when she is introduced, that there's something special about her, and people are feeling like there is something there, and there's something special about this person. And it's just not alluded to yet. Like, you're not seeing it yet. And I know we were talking about my frustrations with the book is, like, I love the story, and I'm not taking anything away from the story. Like, that issue ends with the goal being scored, and I'm just like, let there be one more page, and it's not there. So I'm just like, come on, man. Like,
wait a minute.
Anything away from it.
Did you read up to 24? Did you read up to 24?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah.
Oh, because there are pages after that.
There was a few pages that wouldn't work. Like, I couldn't get them to open. Oh, so there was a few pages that did get skipped.
There are more pages.
Okay. So that's what it was. But no, there was a few pages within the the Microsoft, that wouldn't open.
I know what happened.
So that might have been one of them.
Because I uploaded them late. That's right. Because the lettering wasn't done yet. Yeah.
Okay, then I'll have to go back.
Yeah, keep reading. Yeah, let me know.
Yeah. My bad.
Yeah, no, all good. Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't end it. I know where you're talking about. I wouldn't end it just there. Yeah.
Okay. Because I was like, you gotta be shitting me, Donal.
Yeah.
Like, you were talking about some dirty tactics.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, I was like, because you were like, oh yeah, I don't, and I'm like, well, there's definitely a very specific sort of revelation, but yeah, it's all good.
Because I mean, we see Gala get like KTFO'd basically, and then the goal is scored, and then for me, like, because I didn't have those other pages yet, and I didn't put 2 and 2 together to go to the other folder that you had sent me to finish reading it.
Yeah, when you said PTFO, you mean you saw what happens, right? Yeah.
Yeah, when he gets into her head.
Yeah. That keeps going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that keeps going. Yeah.
So I'll have to go back and reread it because there's a few pages, like I said.
Yeah.
Like there was a couple that went.
I feel like a dumbass. I feel like I just ruined your story experience of the thing because now you're gonna be
no.
Okay, right now. Okay, all right.
Nah, like it's one of those where I'm like so invested in it right now that I'm just I have to read it no matter what now. So
would honestly, if I ended it there, I wouldn't blame you if you were like, dude, don't do this anymore. Dude, go do more theater. Go do more.
The casting couch is calling your name, buddy.
Always is. The casting ottoman as well. Yes. But yeah, no.
I know everybody were joking about that, but he does have he's in a play right now, so that's why I keep making the joke.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of trying to finish this series, and right in the middle of I decided to go do Henry IV, and I don't know what I'm thinking. I don't know what I'm Henry IV in Langley, Bard of the Valley. I play Falstaff. It's going to be great fun. If anybody sees this and you're in the area, please come on by. That'd be great. But that's
make sure they know where it's at. So for everybody listening or watching from
Langley, British Columbia.
There we go, British Columbia.
Which is why the team is the team. But essentially to get into what you read so far, as you can see, it's a brutal sport. It's a brutal game.
Oh, it's so brutal and it's so lovely.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those where if we could see hits like that in modern day football again, not to the point where the leg is being like ripped off, but like just that brutality.
Yeah. Well, you see what happens with some of the other players too, right? I mean, it's and a lot of it is the connotation is as you're going to learn later, the medical science is heavily invested in. So these players are it's a lot easier to repair them than 21st century medical science now.
Yeah, they have back to you can just reattach that shit now.
Yeah. But the first of all, it doesn't always go the way they predicted. And secondly, as you're going to see, I mean, as we know, right, when you get injured, and I think this is what I'm writing a lot in this story as well, because I've had multiple injuries, and technically on paper they're okay, but psychologically that's still there, and you can only do this so much as a person before it starts to wear on you, right? Yeah, and that's kind of a hidden little, I don't want to say a subplot, but it's a piece of the development for sure. It's especially going to be a development for Kai, because Kai is
first game out the gate, man. He's done.
It's awful. It's awful, isn't it?
Kneecap.
It's just oof. There's a lot of I'm somebody who, I was rubbing elbows with a lot of people who turned into like professional celebrities, whatever. And I think in the entertainment world, and there's that feeling where you kind of look back and you realize, like, man, there's certain things that, like, damn, like, I didn't even get the chance to this. I didn't even know that right there kind of sealed my fate with something, and I don't want to get into it too much, but I got into, like, I remember a board meeting for representation when I was young out of college. And I didn't realize, but I was kind of on a handshake contract with a manager who did not like the head of this agency I was interviewing for, and the two of them hated each other. And so, so I got double rejected as an FU. I got rejected by one as an FU to them, and then I got dropped and it was all like just playing games with each other over like 80 battles, but I was the collateral, and a lot of
they
that,
don't care.
They don't give a shit. Yeah, and so like a lot of that is in like Kai's narrative is a lot of what I see with like a lot of younger people who are so talented and incredible at things. And they have like, you can see he's ambitious, right? And he's kind of bought into the narrative, right? And so when his life is the narrative of like what you do as I'm going to be a player celebrity, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get that, I'm going to have this lined up for me. And then when all of a sudden doors shut immediately,
the snap, dude.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is over the last like month and a half, 2 months, I've interviewed a lot of guys like under the age of 30 building these fantastic comic book universes.
Yeah.
And it's one of those where I'm like, I hope they're still here next year, this time.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking them. They are extremely talented writers or artists. They are really good with big ideas. And it's one of those where I hope they have what's the word I'm looking for? The mentality to make it through what they are about to put themselves through. And there's a few they've got a few titles under their belt. I'm not worried about those per se, but it's the ones who are just coming up and they're like, I'm going to do this on my own. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to do it that way. And that's great. I want you to do that. That's the way to do it.
You need that too. You need that.
You have to establish. You have to establish yourself.
Yep.
But at the same time, those are the ones I also worry about because they're at it by themselves. And I don't know who's mentoring them. I don't know who's guiding them all along this journey. Like, who are you talking to? And it's one of those where...
I mean, as we discover, we're in a world and an industry, especially the entertainment and the content industry, right? It's a world where it is very easy for a big fish to take advantage of, to play with their food with little fish before they gobble them up. And you know what I think is really funny? Like I think of like I've been really thinking about this a lot lately, of all of the cultural icons that their lives were so clearly not belonging to them, and that there were so many things in them that actually, if they got the chance to do what they wanted to do, we might have remembered them for something completely different. Elvis comes to mind. Like Elvis's manager being like the most, and we don't think of that with Elvis. We're like, oh yeah, he got addicted to drugs, whatever, died on the toilet, blah blah blah. But it's like, no, he was actually, his whole career was being steered by this other guy who was taking his money. Like,
he got no say-so whatsoever. His tour in Vegas, the whole nine, none of it was his. And to be fair, he would have probably been done at a much younger age, just living his happy life in Memphis.
You're right. Might have actually like started making different music, like music that's, much, maybe something that he connected to more or something, right? And yet, like, Yeah. Oh God, I remember I watched his last concert before he passed, and
It wasn't good.
it not only not good, but it was like the hundreds of towels that he's passing out, and that it's like this is a caricature of this one thing you do that's like your signature cultural like moniker, the thing everyone recognizes you, and there's a guy behind him who's just every time he's unloading the scarf to an audience member who's like, I got Elvis's scarf. I'm sorry, I'm not I'm just doing the reaction the lady, what the lady looks like, I guess. There's a guy behind him who's putting another scarf on. And it was so metaphorical of like, it's just never ending. And it's a literal burden on his neck that's not getting lighter.
Yeah.
Because someone else keeps putting it on top of him. Oh my God. I found that so interesting.
Have you ever seen the president sign a document or sign a bill?
Wait, you mean Nixon?
Like any president whatsoever sign bills.
I thought you meant Nixon making Elvis a secret agent. And he's like, I want to be a secret agent.
No, like, I'm just talking about like each president as they sign a bill into law, they go P.
Yeah.
R.
Really?
E. Yeah. Because those pins are significant and they give them to other members of the cabinet. They give them to whoever,
God.
you know.
That is exhausting, right?
Dude, imagine having to do that over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Or just being like a comic book creator, for instance, at a sign-in.
Yeah.
And just be like, P.
Yeah.
R.
Yeah.
That would be just so exhausting just to keep like swapping pins and there's a lot of creators who do that.
Yeah, I got a lot of respect for people at conventions who do that, like, and they want to do that for the fans, right? They want to do. But
I appreciate it wholeheartedly.
Absolutely. But then there's the if there with Elvis, it's the guy behind him that's like very subtly like, it's the money around him that's moving him in this direction, and it became such an and not to excuse personal choice, right, dude? You can cut out anytime you want, perhaps, right? But like that's clearly, I think, more of the rule rather than the exception. And with pro sports, absolutely, right?
Well, those contracts at that time were ironclad, and it said you will owe me this much.
Yeah. That's true. And I think that, it's interesting. There was another thing I was thinking of. There's this famous story of Marilyn Monroe blowing, like, I think she goes through 55 takes to say this line, where's that damn bourbon, in a movie.
Yeah.
And she couldn't, she was so high on medication and stuff, she couldn't say it, whatever. And it's actually not true. She said the take. And my brain was like, that's, as from my experience with film, you could find so many ways to just have that take and move on, right?
Yeah.
So what were they really doing? They were breaking her because of her contract position, because she was getting paid a certain rate that a lot of the other actors weren't at that point. And you could say a lot of things about Marilyn Monroe and her state of mind, but she was a damn good negotiator. She actually understood how to get her money. Yeah. And they hated her for that. So they were punishing her because it was in the contract that she couldn't, if she walked off set, she would forfeit certain, like her money, basically. So it was a game of just
cat and mouse,
just ratting on her. Yeah. Just like 55 takes, just getting in her brain to try to break her, basically. Right. And her doing it was probably her like, okay, I know what you're trying to do, but I'm going to do it. It's just like, I'm not going to let you break my, have me break off the set. Right. Which is just that I'm really fascinated with those games that people play in industries. Golden Boy is probably a major symbol of that, of somebody who's been fucked with so much that he now is doing it back, and he knows how to do it. He knows how to use the crowds, how to use the people. Right. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. And there is so much out there, and it's all predatory, right? Like, they're not there for you. They're not trying to help you.
There's unfortunately a lot of predatory interests. Yeah. And there's spaces of people who support each other in communities, but it's tough. You have to really be able to trust people. And if you're young out there, I would just say do your homework. Do your homework, right?
Oh,
really
100%.
Be diligent. Yeah. Yeah.
But so POWERSCAPE, and I know, and you can just sit here and just jibber jabber all night about comic books and everything else in between. But so who are some of these artists and your collaborators out there that help bring POWERSCAPE to life? Because it is such a visual like, piece of work.
Yeah, I mean, the main artist is Stefan Toshev, and Stefan is a local guy whose comic book Daybreak. He did art for a comic book called Daybreak, and I saw it when I first got here, when I first moved here from Los Angeles, and I just had it. I just bought it because I was like, I am really fascinated by this style of art, because it was at once definitely like a guy who grew up watching cartoons, like, you know, the X-Men cartoon run or something like that, the way I did, but with just enough realism in it that the characters were really grounded. I felt like I was still watching people who lived by the physics of my Earth, you know, in the story, even though it's, you know, it's very sci-fi. And he kept things so clean and simple, but also, you know, sleek and like detailed, that I was like, this is a very unique style. This guy's got something really unique. So in my head, I just was like, well, that's a really great artist, you know. And then as I was racking my brain trying to reach out to artists for POWERSCAPE, I was working with a group of consultants who were helping me, you know, organize in an industry I never had been in before. And I asked them, I was like, you know, what if we just I said, can we get someone who looks like this? And then as I'm looking at it, I'm like, wait, he lives here. And I'm like, can we just contact him? And so they did. And I had coffee with him, and Stefan's really just like, you know, tell me what's the story idea. And he's like, all right, okay, yeah, all right, cool. And then he like goes home, and then he just fires away, like just gives me like 15 things that I'm like, holy shit, you know? And he's like, yeah, I guess this, maybe this, I don't know, whatever. And, you know, for him, it's like, I can see he enjoys working the chops. I told him use the comic as a platform to just experiment and just try stuff. I really enjoy our working relationship. We're very like, we're two different people, but like, you know, my whole thing is like, I don't care how it looks. Like I have what I think it looks like, and I'll write notes, but I don't like to do panel like direction. And I tell him like, whatever you think makes sense, let's try it. And like sometimes I don't want something a certain color. You know, he has a good way of being like, yeah, I think it's fine. You know, like, okay. And then
you know, it's wild, right? Because the book is it's neon centric. And what do I mean by neon centric? I mean, we're talking, what year is it? 2798. Things are very cyberpunk feeling.
Yeah.
It's very, the lights are very neon. The goals are like neon lit, you know, it's done purposely, but even the outfits that the players wear, you know, they're very cyberpunk feeling, very neon, you know, it's the same team theme, but everybody's like an individual. Yeah. But you tell they're on the same team.
Yeah. Stefan was funny because he based a lot of the aesthetics on football, football gear. Right. And then he would be like, you know, I'd be like, oh, this is great, dude. Were you thinking of like this guy right here, like this way he looks? It looks so much like you know, like growing up and watching like Larry Fitzgerald. Like, did you do that on purpose? And he's like, dude, I don't really watch sports. And I'm like, oh, okay.
It's one of those where he probably Googled and be like, oh, okay, cool. I can, let's,
possibly. I mean, well, I gave him a library with a lot of different looks, like a lot of different, like iconic sports stuff. Like there's this one, I think the shot on our social media of Cappello with the ball, it's kind of low key a throwback to an Allen Iverson pick. And, you know, and so he's really good at just like adopting that, and he gets it. But I like that he's kind of separated from it. Like he doesn't. I feel like people who are like sports fanatics will be like super detailed on certain things.
Yeah, or trying to overdo it when it doesn't need to be overdone.
Yes, and
that's the good thing about it, though, right? In my eyes, when I'm looking at it, you know, a sport is being played, but it's a lot more about the character interaction because they never played the ball together. This is their first time really playing together.
Yeah.
They haven't had time to practice, none of that.
Yeah.
And
as you can
but-
see, it's a bit of a shit show, right? In that
yeah,
first one.
definitely a shit show.
Yeah.
But it's still fun in that aspect of it's really cool to see how the game is being played by both teams. And just the interaction between the teams, like they all know each other. They've been playing this game for years with each other, so that they're like shit talking and they're doing all that stuff. And so it's like real sports, but set in the year 2798. Nothing's changed, right? We're still shit talking and we're still doing that, you know.
Absolutely. And the captain of the other team, right? When he debuts, you can kind of see how it's very, a lot of this is very matter of fact. That team specifically, there's a background with them where they're in a lot of trouble because they don't win a lot of games. And
you can tell it almost feels like there's I don't want to say self-sabotaging, but it feels like they're kind of being pulled from the inside out. You know, somebody is like trying to deliberately ruin it. I'm not saying that's the plot. I don't know, but I get that feel.
Yeah. Well, that city, that team's from Lone Twin City, which is definitely it's supposed to be what's left of Minneapolis and St. Paul, kind of holding on as a little collective. And and it's because they've faced years of which very, very topical. They've faced years of a lot of instability. And so there are some cities that are doing really, really well and they win a lot. And then there are some cities that are, it's not going great. And as you'll see, there's some cities I don't want to say anymore. Just read.
No, I mean,
I'd say read the rest of this one.
Oh, I don't know what I did wrong. Like I said,
I did it wrong. It was my fault.
Okay.
I updated it too late. I should have told you that. I should have said that. My bad.
Nah, you're good, dude.
I emailed you like a day ago. I'm right in the middle.
Yeah, it's one of those two where I may not get to the email till like the day after anyway.
Yeah, man.
Just because you're
busy. Yeah,
but,
what do you think? You're doing like back-to-back interviews, right?
Back to back. So I got tonight. I got Lenovations Press tomorrow. Ooh. And then I'm kicking off. I think it's going to be a 6-part mini series with Chris the Long Box Punk.
Hey,
and his
Chris.
Yeah.
I'll tell Chris I say what's up. Yeah, I interviewed with him too. He's awesome.
Hey, I've known about him for quite a while now, and I know he does similar to what I do. I just don't know what scale he does it at, because I think it's weird if I will check out my competition, so to speak, but I don't really like. I try to.
I don't view you guys as competition. I view you as like two completely different interviewers.
Yeah, and it's one of those where I root for people versus trying to poo-poo on people. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Like, what's the point in like wishing bad for people?
Yeah.
But it's also one of those where I wish I had more time to watch those who, when I first started, they were some of the people I looked at to go, I like what he does with this and this. Maybe I want to adopt that, but I want to do this differently, And he was one of those guys for me where I was just like, I like what he does, but I want to change it up and do it my own way. Yeah, but I definitely pulled elements from a lot of different guys who kind of do what I do, but not necessarily, because I completely switched it up. Like, I literally, when I started this, I'm like, and then it slowly evolved to where I'm like, I'm going to walk people through the journey of my guests, like how they got here, where they're going, and that kind of stuff. I basically want to take people on a journey to get to know who Donal is, what POWERSCAPE is, and that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and that's where
I appreciate that.
I'm at. And but let's talk about some of these themes beneath the spectacle, man. Especially right now. Do you kind of see this story as commentary on our current present day stuff, or a warning about our future? Because especially when you mention Minneapolis and places like that, it's kind of like that's been a shit show.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, this is. I don't want to say this is political. I
Yeah,
I I. It's political in the sense that everything is political.
yeah,
I would call it socio-political, and I
yeah.
and I think what at the end of the day, what this story is, I can't help but be a manifestation of all the events in the history that you and I we've lived through. I mean, your background, right? I'm sure we've lived through 25 years of like the 90s. We watched this place change drastically, right? It's just
Dude, we see the
different.
invention of the smartphone, the
Yeah.
invention of the personal computer.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, I mean, shit,
Liquefied
we're on
natural gas,
PlayStation
like
5.
basically doing to oil what oil was doing to coal, right? Like it's
Yeah,
all, everything is like, everything is
electric
changing.
vehicles.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Geopolitical like alliances that we thought were just reality changing. And
Yeah.
like that kind of stuff is what I've always sort of been really, well, my brain is permanently stuck on big picture to my
Yeah.
detriment. Like my partner, I love her a lot and we get along because she's so good at just the small details because I am
Mhm.
blind. I am blind with that stuff. But
So that's like me with like the
yeah,
political realm that we currently live in. I choose
yeah,
not to watch it, listen to it, have anything to do with it because I live in my
yeah,
own little bubble
yeah,
because I am just that busy that where I like my idea of watching something is literally going to be watching this back
yeah.
as I make clips out of it.
Yeah, I think that's good because I think, like I said, we've like we were saying before with younger artists, we are all having this realization that it is we live in systems that are not necessarily there for our health. They're not there for. They used to be at least there for our productivity, and they may not even be there anymore, right?
Yeah.
And so this story is kind of a what happens when that system's not working,
Mhm.
and that's the main thrust of this game is that it's a couple centuries now of this thing kind of working and humming along, but the main character is going to go through an arc of sort of discovering it's really not though,
Yeah.
and that there is another way to do this that when we discover that the system itself is actively going to try to kill our means of doing that, of changing it. And because that's what a system does, in order to survive, for it to perpetuate, it needs to kill anything that is in competition with it.
Mhm.
And that's the whole the notion of competition versus collaboration. How do we get there? How do we are, as humans, we're both of these things all the time. There's a system that's destroying something right now in a part of the world, but while it's also creating the means for somebody else to enrich themselves or get better. And
Mhm.
how are we going to rectify that? What happens when it doesn't work anymore? How do you I'm really interested in how do we transition to that next leap
Yeah.
of our human evolution. It's very easy to say we won't, but I think it's very difficult for something to end, right? I think society and history has been saying that forever. That
Yeah.
that's it. This is the last manifestation of humanity, right? Yeah. This is
I
why
don't see it.
say it again.
I don't see it that way.
Yeah, I don't either.
I think each generation is meant to be better than the previous one, right?
And even if
And
they're not like better, they're different. They're different in
yeah,
a way that
we
it changes our understanding of better, right, or something.
and we're not talking about physical evolution here. We're talking,
Yeah,
the
no.
mental, all that kind of stuff.
I mean how society organizes itself,
Yes.
which is definitely the arc of this story. This is a society that needs to reorganize itself, and it's a lot of people saying in denial, and that really the spectacle of the game is a collective denial, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, we're
Oh yeah.
fine. Everything's fine. It's a planet that's uninhabitable now because the air is toxic. There's temperatures that are too hot, right? There are fire tornadoes I have at one point happening. It
Yeah.
gets pretty rough. But there are these little sanctuary cities of I should I don't want to supercharge with that term, but a sanctuary
Yeah.
that is these little places left where they've figured out a pocket to breathe, and everyone is acting as if that's fine. That's enough. We're good.
Mhm.
We're good, right? And it's going to become evident. No, it's not. It's not. It's not going to work.
Yeah, it's actually
right?
worse
And
than you actually think it is.
absolutely, yeah. It might even be like a grave you're digging for yourself, yeah, or a
Yeah.
collective grave we're digging. And so, what do we do when we have to face that? The people who do face that, what do they have to do to get us to know?
Mhm.
I'm not quite sure I know what the answer is. I think the story is me asking, you know,
Yeah.
and I don't know how people are going to respond to that, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll find out.
Yeah.
So this Kickstarter has already ended.
Mhm.
Everything's moving forward. It's in production. There's a few pages left to be lettered. No, the lettering's done now.
Two's done. Two's done.
Yeah, so
issue 2 is finished. Woohoo.
and then we're moving forward. 3 is next, of course.
Mhm.
And then
Then I'll have a mini, and then I'll have an issue 4, and then all 4 of those will be slated as a volume 1 graphic novel.
okay.
Yeah.
And this is only supposed to be a 6-part series, right?
This is.
I know when we originally part
Mhm.
series, has it evolved, Donald?
Yeah, no, this is, I mean, you know, I don't want to say this because I feel like people roll their eyes when they hear writers say this, especially old dogs like me. But I mean, I have, like, this is, you know, this can be, you know, 100 issues. This can be a lot. I've got the really long version. I've got and then I've got the middle version, which would be at least three volumes. So
I mean, that's not bad. That's still 12 books.
yeah.
I mean,
So I've got a 4 now that are planned for this first one. I'm almost done with issue 8, and that would be 5 through 8 would be the second volume.
Yeah.
The playoffs, basically, and then sort of a third volume where things change. Things change quite a lot
Okay.
for the main character. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm
And
here
then we'll
for it,
see.
dude. Because I know on the first one, the first interview when we talked, it was a 6-issue arc. That was it. That's what we were going for.
No, it was no. I think even then I said that's what I for sure have flushed out is 6
Yeah,
issues for a
that might have been what
for
it was.
volume.
Yeah.
But I mean, no. If I'm gonna be honest, I didn't want to be someone that was like, oh, you know, this could go on for 10 years because I feel like you're not taken seriously.
And you're going to lose everybody.
Yeah, that's what everybody tells me. Like, you know, no, you don't want to be the guy that has all these long. But I will say, it has been a story I've been weaving for 20 years. So yeah, it's 20 years worth of
Yeah.
you know, I got a file that's pretty long, right?
Mhm.
But I have no problem killing babies and, and killing babies, meaning writing ideas. And I got no problem trimming it down. And I have a shape for it now, where it could be 3 to 4 volumes worth of a story.
See, I think that's a good
Mm-hmm.
good story, especially with something like this. Because
Yes.
If you just say, "Oh, we're going to go through the playoffs," I'm like, no, I want to see. Let me get the championships. Let me see what follows after that. Let me get that. Not a prequel, but the the post game on this. You know, what happens now after this season.
Yeah.
Not necessarily an entire volume on what happened after that season, because I don't know how long these seasons are per se. But
we're definitely going to flash forward a little for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to get out of this season. This is this is really about Gela, the main character.
Yeah.
And this is about 10 years of her life. So
okay, and I know when we had talked the first time, I was like, I can tell this character just feels special. And he never really alluded to a whole lot. And even in volume 2, you really don't allude to it that much still.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, you can kind of see, like, with some of the things she does when she gets into the game, you're like, oh, like she's special. Like there's something there. It's not came out yet.
She has an ability to see what's going on, what is everybody's motivations underneath for everything, like on the field at once. And as we're going to see, that's going to help her out off the field for sure, right? Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm very excited to. I really hope I get to tell the story quicker. We're figuring out our process a lot better. Kickstarter, the last Kickstarter was successful, and I'm really thankful for it. The next one is coming up soon.
That was the next question where I was about to lead you to is,
Thank you.
what are we looking like on the next one?
Yeah. So probably partial funding of issue 3, just like we did with this last one. It was a partial funding of 2.
Yep.
We'll be doing a partial funding of 3. We will have more to give out for sure. And like I said, my hope is that I am in talks with a local writer and artist team about a possible side story that is kind of a prequel that will involve a Canadian city that becomes a sports franchise. And because my ultimate, what I would love is for talking about younger artists. I would love some younger artists to get more involved in painting the story world itself, which is sort of why I was I had to accept that I shouldn't make 150 issues worth of a story, because I was tempted to, because I really love the world itself and the possibilities of the world. Yeah. And I think the answer for that is to have more people who are interested in filling the gaps for other regions, for other cities.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah, I'm working on. So I have there's one team right now that I'm talking with them, and they we're thinking of maybe a 12 issue sort of mini issue that sort of sets up a couple narratives that will come later in that third volume. Yeah. And so that's what we have on the plate right now. And
when can people who backed issue 2 expect to get their books?
I
think that's a good question to ask.
Yes, I appreciate that. Thank you. We just finished issue 2. We've got posters already. One's ready. So if you ordered a physical issue of one, t-shirts are ready as well. It's just a matter of I got to go. We'll have to print out the posters too, but I just wanted to send them all at once. I didn't want to send a few things and then issue 2 after the fact. So now that 2 is done, that's the final piece of all the things. We're also going to send a couple little tiny goody things as a thank you to everybody as well for supporting.
Timbit.
I won't say what they are. Little Timbits, yeah. But they're coming. A little bit of just patience, because I'm sending them all from Canada, so there might be some.
No, trust me, dude.
But that's it. Yeah.
I get stuff from the UK. Yeah, cool. I know it got shipped in like February, and I get it in March.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like as you've learned firsthand, two finished 2 days ago. So now it's just a matter of putting it together, printing it out, sending it to everybody. T-shirts look great though. We have an alternative logo that we will probably save for the next Kickstarter. Alternative logo T-shirts. And I'm gonna do what I can to see if I can get bigger sizes for people, because I know that there wasn't a lot of options with the medium T-shirts. Yeah. So I'll do what I can.
Yeah, I think I got a T-shirt that's going to end up like going to like my daughter, because I'm a tall guy. So for me, it's like we have to get into the tall sizes, like the 2XLTs, in order for a shirt to like not look like a belly shirt on me, basically.
Totally. I'm tall too, but I'm tall the other way. I'm tall this way.
It's suspension, right?
So
it's the gravity of the earth pushing me down and expanding me widthwise.
Like this, right? Yeah. Yeah. We're like the little we're like the little vase on the wheel that Demi Moore's making in Ghost. That's what I look like. That's what I'm. So so I understand the issue is what I'm saying. Yeah. Well, I'll be happy to we'll probably feature more possibilities for that in the
But Donald, I know I got to get you out to the casting couch, man. So before I let you go, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you?
Okay, you can find me on Instagram, Donald Thoms Cappello, my full name. The comic book is also on Instagram, POWERSCAPE _ comic. We are also on Patreon, patreon.com / POWERSCAPE _ comic, same ID. And please go ahead and find us on Global Comics as well, and give us a reader and a support there. We'd really appreciate it. 1 is up there now. 2 will be up there very, very shortly. So thank you so much for supporting. And yeah, more to come. More to come.
And all those links will be included in the description of this when it goes live again.
Thank you.
Saturday. Probably.
Saturday's good for me. I will be grading. Yeah. It's fine.
So you'll get everything probably on Saturday, probably around lunchtime. If you for everybody listening out there, I have 2 more shows. I have Linovation Press tomorrow, and then I have I'm introducing the part 1 of a 6-part miniseries that I'm doing with the Long Box Punk Chris and Chris starting on Friday, and that will cover 5 days. The second part of that will be like 31 March, and then the other 4 parts will be in April. And that's going to be a lot of fun as we discuss their horror anthology that they are doing. We'll get into some details on the actual stories themselves and kind of like what was Chris and Chris's thoughts in making the project. And that will be Friday. So I highly recommend everybody tune in on Friday and tomorrow too. But Friday definitely, because we are definitely going to kick off a 6-part miniseries featuring AHA. That stands for a horror anthology, which is really dope. Which is just a really cool concept. We're going to get into all that Friday night. Donal, can't thank you again for coming on and giving us an update on POWERSCAPE and kind of where you're at with it, and just coming on and just blowing the breeze, man. Now, let me get you out of here because I know you got to get to the casting couch.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you. Best of luck. 7th try on that joke. Best of luck on that one. Yeah.
Hey, you know it sticks every time. But civilizations rise, empires fall, but the game never ends. A huge thank you to Donal once again for being awesome, being a friend, and always just, he hits me with messages here and there just checking in, and I appreciate that so much. For joining us tonight, though, and taking us inside the world of POWERSCAPE one more time. If you'd like to support the series and you can't bring issue 2 to life because it's already been brought to life, but give him a follow and stay tuned for issue 3, where I'm sure you'll be able to get issues 2 and 1 later on.
Absolutely.
And I will, of course, once that is announced, I will announce it here, and we'll probably bring Donal back one more time just for that. And a big thank you to everyone watching and listening to at home. Ladies and gentlemen, the Council of Nerds is adjourned. This has been the USDN podcast, where indie comics come to life. Y'all be safe out there.
It's a trap!